Hi there. Happy holidays. You're watching Tito Talks, the Christmas special with your favorite Tito Miguel, who loves to make non-life insurance topics easier to understand for both agents and clients. Magandang Friday po sa ating lahat. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all of you. I hope you are all safe, dry, healthy, and sound with your relatives and your loved ones this season. Now, we're breaking away from our usual insurance lessons to talk about an interesting trend that we notice in the insurance industry, which are claims that usually happen around Christmas time because of Christmas time. As you all note, you and your clients are going to experience a change in behavior during the holiday season because of the holiday season. People are going to be visiting their loved ones, their relatives. People are going to be buying expensive gifts for their loved ones, their families, their relatives, their inaanaks. Shout out to all the ninongs and ninangs who are currently in hiding from their inaanaks. I feel you. I know what you're going through. And with that being said, we've got a special episode for you today wherein we're going to be talking about the 12 claims of Christmas, which is a list of claims that usually happen around Christmas time. And the reason I'm making this list is to keep you guys safe and prepared for the holiday season. Now, all of the claims that we'll be talking about are, of course, coverable under insurance. So if you do have insurance policies already on you, personal accident, property, even motor car policies, make sure to make sure that these policies are aligned with these risks and perils that we are going to be talking about today. So let's get started then, shall we? First on our list are potential house fires because of Christmas lights. Now, we all know Christmas lights are a very popular decoration for most households during this time, and there are certain households that have been using or that tend to use the same light for consecutive years, trying to save money. New lights are too expensive. The same lights will do the same job every year. And it's not just with the lights, especially if you're in the Philippines, parols or lanterns in the shape of stars are also quite popular this time around. Now, while these lanterns may seem beautiful, while these lights may seem pretty and they add to the atmosphere of the festive season to your households, it's very, very important that you make sure that everything is working properly from an electrical end. As you all know, these things operate on electricity as they display lights, especially if you're dealing with long strings of beaded lights. Now, one broken light may mean that the whole light set could be compromised. Now, if you only have one bad bulb which is replaceable, yeah, that's fine. But if it's really, really old, you might want to consider replacing it for the holiday season. A simple replacement of Christmas lights is actually less expensive than a house fire that could burn down sections of your house or the whole of your house. But if ever that does happen, yes, fires caused by Christmas lights are also coverable under a standard fire and lightning policy under a fire insurance policy. So make sure that you get ample coverage. This is probably something most people overlook. As you know, refrigerators are meant to withstand a lot of abuse. We stick magnets to them, children play around them. A lot of food is stuffed there. A lot of food is stuffed there over the Christmas season. Why? Because there's going to be a lot of relatives visiting. There are going to be a lot of people in your household to visit, to eat, and to make merry. Now, with a lot of food comes a lot of need for storage space. And this could lead to you overstuffing your fridge beyond the maximum weight capacity that the trays, that the freezer, especially that the freezer, can accommodate. So you may want to double check the manual of your refrigerator to see how many kilograms of food it can hold. You also want to make sure that the food inside, if you're going to be leaving it for several weeks, is going to stay fresh. If you end up with rotten food inside your ref, that's going to compromise the integrity of the refrigerator itself, which could cause it to have lingering smells and affect the integrity of the rest of the food inside, which may lead to an insurance claim. So double check your contents, double check the specifications of your refrigerator before you stuff it full. Yes. Christmas time is the time of presents. Now, because a lot of people are buying presents for other people, especially for their family members, this makes it a perfect time for thieves to break into your house and steal your goods. On top of the presents, of presents and other expensive items inside your house, it's actually easier for thieves to break into your house, especially when you're asleep. Why? Because the moment they get into your house, they'll know exactly where to look. All the expensive gifts, all the presents are gonna be under one tree. And if you've got stockings lying around, those are big indicators of where to look. So it's a it's a potential risk, especially if your neighborhood has had a history of break-ins and robberies and burglaries. You want to be sure that your house policy or your fire insurance policy already has an extension for robbery and burglary. Take note, this is an extension which you have to pay for as an additional coverage to your basic fire and lightning policy. Make sure of that. This one's really interesting. Parking space collisions. Yes, I'm talking about parking space collisions. Now, during this holiday season, a lot of people are going to be visiting their relatives and loved ones in other areas. People who live in condominiums and apartments could be visiting their relatives out there in the province, and the same can be said in reverse. People from the provinces could be visiting their other relatives and loved ones in Metro Manila. This means subdivisions, apartments, condominium owners, or tenants will be expecting more visitors. This means a shortage of parking spaces. A lot of people are going to be using up the parking slots. A lot of people are going to be taking up the roads, the sides of the roads during the season. And if you live in a subdivision or a village where there are a lot of cars, you're probably going to end up, there is a risk of you crashing into someone else's vehicle while you're parking, or the same could be said in reverse. Other people who are parking could run or collide with your vehicle during these times. And if you want to get protection against that, you're going to have to look to your motor car policy. What you want is to get the own damage and theft coverage, as well as voluntary third-party damage liability for property. So that means even if your car gets nicked or bumped by another vehicle, your car is going to be covered. Or if you manage to damage someone else's car during your parking maneuvering, you're also going to be able to pay for the damages that you cause their cars. Yes. Christmas is also the time of toys and children. Children scattering toys all around the house. Building blocks, Lego, toys, Power Rangers, consoles, CDs, you name it, it's gonna be all over the house. So, there is a potential risk of you stepping on something, and I pray you do not step on a Lego. That is very, very painful, or anything sharp for that matter. Christmas decorations as well. So, if you do end up stepping on something, your immediate coverage will come from your personal accident insurance policy. So, make sure that you do have coverage during this time, as the potential of you stepping on something, kicking something, running into something is actually higher. Also, in the process of you decorating your house for the Christmas season, you might be putting up your Christmas lights, you might be setting up the Christmas tree, you might be decorating the outside of your facade with various decorations. You could end up using ladders, you could end up handling electronics, which are, of course, a little bit dangerous. Since you're climbing up a ladder to reach higher points of your house, there is a potential of you falling down and getting hurt. If you're dealing with electronics, like lights and lanterns and paroles, you could end up experiencing electrical shock, which are all, of course, covered under a personal accident policy as well. So be careful as you are decorating your house or in the process of you taking down those decorations once the season ends. These are all perilous times, so please be careful. Of course, who could forget the potential of stove fires? Christmas is a great time for kids because of the presents. Christmas is a great time for adults because of the food. And as you all know, we love to enjoy hearty meals with our loved ones along with their judgments about our weight and eating habits. So that means there's going to be a lot of food preparation over this time. Your mom's going to make her special spaghetti. Your dad's going to be making his famous barbecue. Lolo and Lola are going to be creating their house specialties, which we all long for throughout the year. And that means the stove's going to be working on overtime. And if you leave stove fires unattended, that is, of course, a definite risk that could lead to house fires. So be careful as you cook. But it's not just with your stoves, you also have other cooking appliances, especially if you like to bake. That means you use ovens. Also, you've got your turbo broilers, your crock pots, which are also operate on heat. So if you're basting your turkeys or your chickens and you're making really, really big meals for your family, naku po, be sure to take the necessary precautions when you prepare these large meals. Never leave a cooking dish unattended. Wine spills. Yes, of course. Wine spills are a definite risk during the holiday season. As you all know, your titos and titas and uncles and aunties are going to be enjoying a cup of wine, a glass of wine over the holiday seasons when the friends come over to pay a visit or when the relatives come over. Drinking is, of course, a very popular hobby during this time. Now, the potential of wine spilling on expensive carpets, rugs, mats, furniture, couches, naku po, these could be unremovable, especially if you're dealing with expensive wine and if you're dealing with expensive rugs. These, of course, are still coverable under your house insurance policy. Just be sure that your house also or your home insurance policy covers the contents of the house as well. But nonetheless, you want to be careful when you're drinking wine or any other alcoholic beverage that could stain your family heirlooms. So drink wisely. And who could forget? Of course, the time wherein kids are running around all over the house. And because of modern technology and exercise machines, it's not just the kids that are going to be running around the house, bouncing from wall to wall. It's also going to be the adults, especially when there's alcohol and music involved. Naku po, Tito. Tito's going to hit his dance moves and show them in front of the family during dinner. Naku po, that is a risk. Be sure to keep aside all your breakables, all your vases, all your all your statues. Make sure that you put them away in safe spaces as long as you've got kids or rowdy people inside the house. We won't be able to avoid children running around, especially when they get new toys, especially when adults get new gadgets or when they get new video games. Naku po, you want to be sure that the breakables inside the house are set aside so that the risk of them breaking are of course avoided. But then again, if your valuables are covered under your home insurance policy, then the insurance will cover them as well. Just remember, your home insurance policy will cover almost anything, appliances, furniture, so on and so forth, but the insurance most definitely cannot cover works of art, money, and jewelry. So you may want to keep those in check over the season. As we all know, during the Christmas season, a lot of people will be visiting us, our relatives, and they'll be spending a couple of nights there to ride out the Christmas holiday season before we have to go back to work in January. So, with that being said, you'll be having more people inside your residence, and more people inside your residence will actually mean more people consuming electricity for their gadgets and for their needs. The current outlets or the current extension outlets that you already have could be overloaded when everyone else is plugging in their charger, their laptop, their computer, their gadgets, their gaming consoles, their TVs for the holiday season. So, you want to be careful not to overload your electrical outlets this season to avoid house fires. And of course, let's not forget travel-related claims. Naku po. During this season, a lot of people are going out into the province, visiting their relatives, or the other way around, people from the province going to Manila to visit their relatives. You could be on the road for elongated periods of time. And it goes without saying, the longer you are on the road, the more chances you'll get of getting into a collision. But it's not just collisions that you should be worried about. You should also have to worry about minor car problems or minor repairs that could need your immediate attention. Overheated engine, minor collisions with other vehicles, running out of fuel, running out of gas, getting a spare tire getting a flat tire in the middle of your journey. Naku po, these are all things that your insurance can take care of. Yes, even minor on-site repairs. Some insurances provide fuel delivery, delivery of spare keys, even delivery of spare tires. Some insurances even provide battery jump starting services, which come along with roadside assistance programs. You want to learn more about roadside assistance? You know who to talk to. And finally, of course, since we live in the digital age right now, gadgets, electronics are probably some of the most popular gifts to give our loved ones this year. Mobile phones, laptops, tablets, gaming consoles, still praying for a PS5. Now, with that being said, now since electronic gadgets are a very popular gift to give others this time, it's very important to maintain these gadgets properly. Most gadgets that operate on batteries will come only under a factory charge, meaning you would still have to charge these gadgets to their maximum capacity to take care of their batteries. However, when charging your gadgets, be sure not to overcharge them, i.e., leaving them overnight, leaving them for several hours way beyond the recommended charging time as indicated by the manuals. So, before you start charging up your gadgets or your new gifts or your new toys, be sure, and I implore you because people ignore this all the time, please, for the love of Christmas, read the manual first before operating them, before plugging anything in. Do yourself a favor. Check out the recommended wattage, recommended outlets for in where to plug your gadgets and devices, and also be sure to double check if your gadgets have a recommended charging time and recommended indicators to let you know that the gadget has continued or finished charging. And there you have it. 12 Christmas claims you may want to avoid during the season, but if they still happen to you, don't worry. If your insurance policy covers these specific perils, you will definitely be helped by your insurance. Consult with your agent to make sure that you have the most adequate coverage for your household, vehicle, and your person and your family. And if you're not yet covered and you're looking for a good coverage to take care of your insurance needs, you know who to talk to. So once again, this is your favorite Tito Miguel. Happy holidays, and I hope you spend the rest of your holidays in good health and in happiness with your friends, family, and loved ones. Once again, I hope you enjoy the rest of your holidays.